Hey YouTube, Lawler here as always. Hope you're all doing well. We literally just got done watching the EU LCQ and we have our team going to the World Championship. Yes, that's right. We officially have all 16, now technically 20 teams that are going to be in Lyon, and a lot to break down. Number one, we're going to talk about Group A, Group B, Swiss stage, all that kind of stuff, and go through who actually made it from Europe. Second thing we're going to talk about, obviously, is what does that mean for the play-ins? Which teams are going to be competing against each other? How does that work? First things first, let's talk about what went down this weekend. And while we do so, as always, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, helps me out immensely. Leave me comments down below if you guys have any additional questions for me to follow up on. But going in, we had 16 teams. Mates, NIP, BDS, 2 Danes, 1 Bruv, with EJBY, Tempo, and Acro. BSK was a favorite. Hogan Mode, Acronic was going by Acro, so we're upset with him. Sick, Tokyo Tigers, Cash is back. Caliente with Size and Charlie B and those guys. Some familiar faces across the board, but realistically, the teams to watch. Mates was the favorite. NIP we have seen have struggles throughout high-profile matches. BDS is like Snowmen 2.0, the young guns with a ton of talent. 2 Danes, 1 Bruv proved to be very good in Swiss. And then BSK, a team that has made it pretty far previously, like consistent top 6s in other open events. The actual matches in groups were anything but predictable. The team that went 3-0 in Swiss ends up going 0-2. German Hermanos with Ivan and Rizex knocked out immediately. 2 Danes, 1 Bruv look really, really solid. The guys play a very wide field spread deep back. A little bit more passive, but very effective at beating the competition below them. Has proven effective. BDS started off with a very scary match against Tokyo Tigers, Cash and those boys, but eventually they do clutch it out. And then ended up beating their counterpart in BSK. Between these two, it was like the young talent that has had potential versus the other young talent in Mozzarella, Rust Easy, Pisky, guys that we expect to go and put up a fight. BDS gets a 3-0. We'll talk more about their run later. BSK does bounce back over Chippy Chips, rightfully so. And then Cash and the guys do beat low block. So experience winning on this one. Tokyo Tigers actually looked pretty decent. In Group B, NIP does go 3-0-3-0. So looking really good in their group stage. Caliente with Sizen and the guys do end up beating Hogan Mode, which was surprising for some. And on the other side, Mates 3-0-3-1. Probably looking the best, I would say, out of everybody. Although NIP was winning, still a little faulty at times. Some concerns for sure. In the low bracket, and unfortunate for Team TSK, what ended up happening was their third player, Scream, had his computer have some issues. They could not find an alternative, so they had to play with their coach, who was like Platinum 3 or something like that. It did not go well. They got smacked. They tried to take as much time as possible against NIP in order to buy time for him. Unfortunately, it was not enough time, so they just forfeited against Hogan Mode. Hogan Mode makes it through over Red Devils, and then Sick ends up being Caliente. This is the only one that I could have maybe saw go the other way, but you had like the Belgium team versus Hogan Mode. Hogan Mode ended up winning. We then get into the playoffs and things get a little bit crazy. And unfortunately, I can't reveal these one at a time. We're going to start with uppers and then we'll go from there. 2 Danes, 1 Bruv versus Mates. Game 7. Every game but one went to OT. Every game but 2 went to OT. It was absolute chaos. Very, very back and forth. And should have raised some flags for some people about Mates. A lot of people staying a little bit high on 2 Danes, 1 Bruv. Playstyle doing really well. But the reality is experience in these circumstances usually outweighs. This time it did, but it did come down to the wire. 1 goal game, as was every game in this series. It's as close as it can get. And yeah, honestly, it was kind of boring. Not a whole lot happened. It was just 2 teams taking turns winning matches. Defense was awkward. It was an oddball. But that being said, very, very close. On the other side, in the big upset, we talked about BDS going 3-0 in their upper match. They then 4-0 sweep against NIP. 1 overtime. A lot of 1-goal games, 3 in particular, but a very tough match for NIP. NIP looked flat. BDS was fast. They were aggressive. They were beating them to the ball. They were challenging very, very well. They came out confident. There's a lot of conversations that I had with Nico about this as well, talking about how, hey, you guys, if you play confident, if you play the way you're supposed to, you should beat NIP. They look nervy. They look off kill. This could be problematic for them. So they do end up playing their style. They play very confident. They get some momentum going, and they close them out quick, guaranteeing a top 4. Pretty important. On the low side, and I'm trying to hide these as much as I can. You guys are obviously seeing spoilers, so we might as well just rip off the Band-Aid. BSK and Sick. BSK just the better team. Nothing to really discuss there. Sick just got outclassed. A lot of goals being conceded due to the aggression. Again, Rusteezy and Mozzarella are just nasty. Pisky just plays really good defense and just sets them up, and it's insane. Watching them work, like, I would not be surprised if those guys get poached. On the other side, Hogan mode in Tokyo Tigers. Cash in high pressure moments has not proven to be successful. Hogan mode just seemed to have the better offensive play. Tokyo Tigers was kind of one-dimensional, unfortunately for them. Did put up a good fight, though. We then saw NIP go all the way to 7 in what was probably the ugliest series I've ever seen. We watched this as the first series of the day, and even though NIP won in 7, we want to talk about the duality of ninjas in pajamas. And let's be perfectly honest. NIP has not lived up to the expectation that I set on them a long time ago. At the beginning of the season, I had NIP ranked as like a top 4. Like, hey, that team with Itachi should be going to majors. They should be winning. They should be very, very good. And then this narrative came, and I started to lose my stock on them, rightfully so, with the concept of being, hey, there is a mental block on Nas. He tries to play too much hero ball. When the going gets tough, he tries to do too much. Oski is trying to do everything he can to like drag these dead corpses across the finish line. Itachi's heart doesn't seem it. He's not the 50 god that he once was. They got tired of playing this, hey, we're going to play a bunch of 50s, 1-goal games. Probably reason why Mates got rid of him. But even for Mates as a team started with Radosin, got rid of Radosin, brought in Eugen, found a bunch of success. This time around, NIP is now using Radosin. Itachi is on the bench, wants to focus more on content. They bring in Radosin, and they're getting wins. In this, Radosin was sitting next to the play watching it with no boost, would be late to every challenge, and they still found a win. It was insane. I don't know how they were able to get away with it. On the other side, 2 Danes, 1 Bruv absolutely dismantled BSK. They had an answer for everything. They absolutely suffocated them. There was nothing they could do to break out. Very convincing victory on their end. We then go into the next match where BDS and Mates are waiting. We started with NIP and Mates, and like, again, while NIP has all the potential in the world, we hadn't seen it at all consistently this season. Mates looked awful. I don't know if it was pressure. I don't know if they were just lost in the sauce. I don't know what the situation was, but whoever their warm-up was didn't get them ready to go or something. But Mates looked miserable. Like, I don't think NIP did necessarily anything too crazy or too special that series other than play the game confidently. And that was it. We were trying to find a word for teams that were like, there was no passion, there was no intent, there was no, like, they weren't instilling they just kind of simply existed in the series. And like some self-detriment here. This series felt like The Boys versus Complexity. This series felt like Carl and Pope. Except for Pope actually played okay. Yeah, there was no urgency. There was no, like, it almost felt like they knew they were going to lose. It was very, very weird. So when Mates came through against an NIP that just got over their biggest hurdle, they started to believe, they started to build that confidence. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Mates fell. So good for NIP, feeling more confident than ever. They looked like the team that was supposed to win after these 2 series. On the other side, we then started to raise concerns where we're going to see the same out of BDS. BDS has done it not once, but twice. They have looked good 2 days, but can they look good on day 3? Are they able to bring that same level of intensity and aggression? Are they still able to bring what has been successful for them when the most pressure they have ever felt is on the line? The answer was yes. They were more aggressive. They were challenging the ball. The passive play style that was working previously. I'm trying to allow you guys to see this. I know my camera's in the way, so I apologize. But the aggressive play style that was working for BDS really made a difference in this series. 4-0. So at this point now, BDS wins 13 games in a row over 3 days. They went to Game 5 against Tokyo Tigers in their very first series, and then they went 3-0, 4-0, and 4-0. So they have won, to my knowledge, 13 games in a row, if I'm pretty sure they lost, or they won the last 2 here. Yeah. Play style-wise, BDS played assertive, aggressive on the first man and challenges, creating opportunities, while 2 Danes, 1 Bruv, although talented, although competitive, just looked like they were being overwhelmed. They were always playing catch-up. And then we get into our final series. This series was competitive. It just felt like experience outweighed everything here. If NIP made it to the final song and dance and Gentlemates wasn't on the other side, it felt inevitable that NIP was going to take it. BDS put up a fight, and you can see it. 3-2, 3-2. They win an OT 2-1. They even go to a 1-goal game here. Like, BDS put up a good fight. It was not like NIP just came out swinging and smacked them, even though people are going to look at the 4-1. BDS played well. BDS should be very, very happy. The difference that we've seen in the, whatever it's been, 3 months, 2.5 months since Open 6, they look night and day different. That being said, we're still missing GK. We're still missing, KC. We're missing Dignitas. We're missing the teams that are normally filled in here that they're going up against. We did not see them against. But at least this tournament shows that they can hang as a competent top 6 team. BDS should feel very happy about their situation. We picked up 3 young kids with a ton of talent who might likely get poached. But if they choose to stick together, they should be extremely happy with where they accomplished and where they got. For NIP, it's a whole different game. NIP hopefully has some confidence. They're playing on LAN. We finally get to see what NAS is maybe capable on LAN, like we got to see when he played for G2 at Esports World Cup last year. Redosin on LAN has proven that he can be very impactful. And Oski, Oski's pretty dang good on LAN too. Oski is my MVP. The casters were glazing the heck out of Redosin, even though I think Redosin, while he was better towards the end of the day, it does not negate a lot of the bad that I saw in here. Eventually, he was able to kind of eke out the wins and be disruptive and create some opportunities, but slow, wasn't picking up boost, wasn't denying things, was just kind of Roombaing and hovering around and waiting for the play to develop. Eventually, when they started to get into a flow and a rotation, Nas really stepped up. Oski didn't have to do as much, and Redosin was more impactful. So again, natural progression. They now have no EWC, which is this upcoming week on the 14th, so Thursday. So they have about a month to continue to get better, plus a boot camp and everything else. So for NIP that has gone through what is an atrocious season, a roster change to no avail, they win when it matters most. Pretty crazy situation for NIP. You can have the worst season in the world. You can fall short so many times. You can go 2-9 against competition, but the beauty of LCQ is now it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. The whole reason we play this game is to win a world championship. They're now in the running just like everybody else. And albeit I think being in play-ins is actually a benefit. You get competitive matches when nobody else does against competition that you should likely beat, which is part 2 of this video. With now qualifying, we have all 20 teams going to the World Championship. We know who it is. We know who's playing. We know what's going on. And that's what brings us to the play-ins. So, currently the ex-Corinthians, the South American representation with Raise Bull and the boys, to my knowledge, they do have some offers from organizations. Whether those will go through, I don't know. But we do have ex-Corinthians going up against Gen G. That is a very tough first-round match for ex-Corinthians. Rock from Mina going up against Foot. Shopify Rebellion against Virtus Pro, and NIP against TSM. My assumption is we're going to get NIP versus Shopify, Rock, and Gen G. If I had to guess, I think Gen G is the only team that is going to be the one that holds on to their spot when it comes to being in the play-ins as the 17 to 20 seeds versus the 14 or the 13 to 16. So should be very interesting. It is double elimination, but it's going to be a lot of pressure. I think for some of these, it's a really good opportunity to get some flow, get some motivation, get some momentum, whatever you want to call it, going into the group stages. Because these are just straight double elimination, and that's a lot of traveling and a lot of practice for what is essentially could be 2 matches. So pretty crazy stuff in a best of 5. Everything changes. So that in mind, I guess I don't have a number 3 for you other than suck it. I was right about NIP, even though I started to not believe in them. Maybe I was the curse the whole time. Maybe me believing in NIP is why they couldn't get it done until I started to not believe. Who knows? Either way, crazy stuff. Congratulations to Ninjas in Pajamas. I know it means everything for those guys. I'm so happy for them. Again, I was rooting for that team heavily, more openly at the beginning of the season compared to the end of the season when I started to lose my stocks because my feelings were hurt that they kept losing. But that is an insane opportunity for them to have that season go through all the things they did. And now in worlds like everything else, like Speedy said in chat, what if Hogan mode took game 7? What if they didn't make it through? What if BDS didn't win against Tokyo Tigers and they didn't go on that run and go through top 4? A lot of the what ifs are why we watch this game. It's why this esport is so exciting. Crazy stuff. Either way, that's going to do it for the recap. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. Focus up on now is going to be EWC. EWC's coverage, predictions, all that kind of stuff are going to be going down. But I appreciate you all. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. And while you're down there, if you enjoy the content, hit up all the socials, like, subscribe, turn on notifications. All that stuff helps me out immensely. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Design. Yeah, so I've been fake, humble 10 in my mind, but it's 9. I don't say mumble lie where it fits, but my character don't trip, stumble if I see you shit on my name.